Hi, I'm Jen. Thanks so much for checking out my channel, Your Best Work Life. On this channel, we talk about all things that have to do with writing the perfect resume, helping you prepare for an interview, and furthering your career goals. Today, we're going to talk about 5 things to remember when you're starting a new job search. I totally understand the fear and anxiety that comes when you're starting a new job search, especially if you feel like you need to or have to find a new job for financial reasons or whatever the case may be. Finding a new job or starting a career search can be one of the top 5 most stressful things that we do in our life. So I want to try to help you with where to start so that you start on the right track to finding your next dream job. Number 1, you need to put yourself out there. So if you are looking to find a new job, a new career path, whatever that might be, you need to let people know that you're looking, that you're open to new opportunities. Now, this can be a little bit tricky because most of us don't want our current employer to know if we're looking for a new job. So I have a few tips and things that you can do. But first and foremost, you want to make sure to post your resume. Hopefully you're familiar with some of the different job boards that are out there: Monster, Career Builder, Indeed, Dice. So depending on your career background, there's certain job boards that will cater more to certain disciplines. So Dice, for example, is great if you have any kind of technology or engineering background. Dice is a very technical job board, and when I'm looking for technical talent, that's one of the places that I go. But you want to make sure that your resume is out there. Get it on Career Builder, get it on whatever job boards. Indeed is great. Indeed is actually an aggregator. So I highly recommend that you get your resume on there. It's also a great place to actually go and search for jobs. And you can set up job alerts so that if a new job gets posted that matches what you're looking for, you'll get an email so you can quickly apply to that position. But it is important that you put yourself out there, make it known that you're looking, apply for new opportunities. If you don't have one, make sure to create a LinkedIn profile. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, I highly recommend you set one up. I will do another video specifically on LinkedIn best practices and how to fill out your profile and how to really leverage LinkedIn. But get started with setting up a profile if you don't have one. Play around with it. LinkedIn is essentially a social network for professionals. So it's great because almost everyone I know has a LinkedIn profile. So we essentially have this online digital profile / resume that's out there for anyone to see at any given time, but doesn't create any concern for my current employer or for anybody's current employer if they are out there looking for new opportunities. There's also some great features on LinkedIn that you can check a box that you are open to new opportunities, and your employer won't see that. So definitely check it out, but get yourself out there if you're starting your career search to make it known that you are open to new opportunities. Number 2, remember that social media can be your friend or your enemy. If it's out there on the internet, it is out there and can likely be found by anyone who's really trying to find something about you. So when you are starting a new job search, I highly recommend that you take a minute, Google yourself, see what comes up. Look at your Facebook profile, look at your Instagram, whatever social media platforms that you're on or you're engaged with. There might be different other meetup groups or all sorts of different online platforms that you could be involved with. So just make sure that your footprint, your digital footprint, or your personal brand is consistent with the image that you want to put out there. So do a quick spot check before you start really actively applying to jobs, because more and more employers are taking the time to look you up on Facebook, look you up on LinkedIn, look you up on Google, and just see what they can find to make sure that you're not going to tarnish their reputation or that you've been doing these crazy things that are not consistent with their company's values. So take the time to remember that. Check out your presence on social media and online because your future employers will be looking at that. Number 3, remember that every step of the process matters. And when I say every step, I truly mean every step. From the moment that you apply to a new job until you go through that interview process, fingers crossed, right? From the moment you apply to that job all the way through the end of the interview process, every single phone interaction, email interaction, in-person interaction, it all matters. Even if you're not interacting with the person who's actually responsible for hiring, it might be the receptionist that greets you when you come in. It might be someone in customer service or, any employee in the company that you might meet or have the opportunity to speak to along the way. All of those interactions matter. If they're talking to you throughout that process, there's probably a reason, and you better believe and count on the fact that those hiring managers or whoever is ultimately going to make the decision at the end of the day, they're going to consult with anybody else who had any kind of interaction. They're going to look at the quality of the emails that you wrote. They're going to look at your application. Did you have grammatical errors in your application? Did you capitalize things that should be capitalized? Did you follow up and follow through on whatever commitments? If they asked you to complete an application or send them any kind of follow-up documentation within a certain period of time, did you do it? All of these things are in place for a reason, and they're there to screen out the people who are really not going to follow through, or who are not consistent, or who are really not serious about making that career move or really pursuing an opportunity with that company or whatever that job is. So really every step matters. Be professional, be courteous, and be cognizant of how you're representing yourself, both orally, that's how you're speaking to them, but also what you're putting into any kind of email. Look at your punctuation. Make sure it's clean and professional. It all matters, and you're being judged for all of those things throughout the process. Number 4, be proactive and follow up. This is so critical. So many people take a very passive approach. They apply to 50 different jobs, and then they just sit back and wait and hope to hear back. That's really not a very good strategy, especially if you're really passionate or serious about pursuing a particular opportunity, or you really want to get into a certain company. You need to take matters into your own hands a little bit. So if you apply to an opportunity and you don't hear anything back for a couple days, I would pick up the phone and call that company. Ask who's responsible for hiring for that position, and ask if you can talk to them. Ask where they are in the hiring process. Make sure they received your application, and to ask them if there's anything that you can address for them, any questions that you can answer, but make sure to communicate how serious you are and how interested you are in that opportunity, and that you'd like to give them any information that they need to get you involved in that interview process so that you are being considered for that opportunity. So if you reach out to follow up on your application and they tell you they're in the process of reviewing applications and they say, hey, maybe check back next week, make sure you do that. Make sure you follow up. And if you do, on the flip side, when it comes to follow up, if you do get a call for an interview and you do either a phone interview or if you go in for an in-person interview, make sure you follow up after that. Make sure that you express interest, that you ask about next steps. They're going to be looking for and listening for those cues or those signs that you're truly interested, that you're engaged, and that you really care about that company or that opportunity, and that you really feel that would be the right fit for you. So be proactive and make sure you follow up throughout that process. Number 5, remember that you need to sell yourself. So if you are applying for a new job or trying to change careers, that company, they don't really know you. They don't, unless you have someone on the inside, a friend or someone in your network who referred you. In many cases, they don't know you. They don't know what you bring to the table. And depending on how you articulated your experience in your resume, some people do that better than others. So you do need to sell yourself. If you have the opportunity to get on the phone with a manager or meet with them in person, make sure you maximize that opportunity. Be prepared to share what you bring to the table. What have you learned in your previous positions? How have you progressed in your career? And what is transferable from those skills that you've gained in your past into this new opportunity? So it is really critical to communicate those things. Don't feel like you're being cocky or you're being arrogant. The point of an interview is for a potential company to find out if you would be a good fit. Do you have the skills that they need for that particular opportunity? It's absolutely critical. And don't be ashamed of talking about awards that you've won or accolades that you've received. You should be excited about those things and proud of those things. And an interview is absolutely the perfect time to let those things shine and to sell yourself. So make sure before you go into an interview, or even before you start your job search, that you've really given some thought to what you bring to the table, what sets you apart, what makes you different from the hundreds of other potential applicants who might be going after that same job. You really have to think about that. What's going to set you apart? What's going to make you stand out? And why does that company need to hire you? So to recap on the 5 things that you need to remember when starting a job search. First and foremost, you need to put yourself out there. Post your resume, make it known that you are looking for new opportunities. Number 2, remember that social media can be your friend or your enemy. So make sure you're aware of what your digital footprint looks like and what a prospective employer is going to see if they do a quick Google search on your name. Number 3, remember that every step of the process matters. From the initial application to a conversation with the receptionist, all the way up to a meeting with the CEO. It all matters. The emails matter, the follow-up matters, it all absolutely matters. Number 4, be proactive and follow up. Take matters into your own hands. This is your life that we're talking about. We want you to have your best work life. Be proactive. Number 5, remember you need to sell yourself. An interview and throughout that interview process is the perfect time to really communicate everything that you've learned and accomplished and all the knowledge that you have accumulated over the course of your career. That is the time to sell yourself and really set yourself up to be truly considered for that opportunity and give yourself the best shot of winning that opportunity. Again, I'm Jen. Thanks so much for checking out my channel, Your Best Work Life. If this was helpful for you, please like, comment, and subscribe below. I'm happy to answer any additional questions that you guys might have or create other videos that will resonate and help you in where you are in your career path. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.